Hey guys, welcome back to the Diet Doc Life Mastery Podcast. I'm Joe Klemczewski here with Dr. Kori Propst. So we're going to go into segment 2, episode 2 of our micro series on binge eating. And Kori, we left off with you describing this new group. And I think we should probably say this right up front in case people trail off, because this is a big deal. So tell us what you've got going on in terms of the kind of support in this whole group that you're creating.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So starting November 1st, registration through October 31st, I am doing this 3-month transformational focus group. And it's called Binge Eating Breakthrough, Take Back Control. So what it involves is a once weekly focus group. We're going to do that via video. It involves monthly private calls with me, with all participants. And then we have a private Facebook support and discussion group. And the reason why I've made this like such an intensive like immersion experience is because I have a lot of clients that I work with through binge eating and emotional eating one-on-one, Joe, and it's highly effective work. It is. And what I know happens, because my clients tell me this, is they get outside of our work together one-on-one and they go out into the world and they're exposed to all of this other noise about diets and keto and this person lost 20 pounds last week, and it can very easily throw them off track. So to have them in an immersive group where everyone is working on the same thing and they all have similar goals and they're all practicing together and they can motivate each other and they have a level of accountability. And number one, they know they're not alone, because I think we all have experienced that before where we're like, I'm the only one struggling with this. No one gets it or understands. That's why I designed it this way. So if you guys are interested, you can go to www.thedietdoc.com/binge-eating-breakthrough to register and or learn more. And of course, if you have questions too, feel free to reach out to me by direct message or email Kori@thedietdoc.com.
And, Kori, I think not only is that format going to be so effective for you, but I see this happen all the time in terms of even in my own coaching, in my Apex coaching group, that, first of all, there's a huge psychological component to binge eating, even though the physiological impetus is the driving force, the number one variable. As I do the same thing with my coaches, sometimes we get on the phone, we get a private, coaching call, and this is where they can kind of say exactly what's happening in their lives and what their needs are. Yeah. And no matter what you have planned, it just becomes this great brainstorming, connecting session. Yes. And you both just walk away feeling like you've accomplished so much. But at the same time, you're exactly right, that they love to get together in the group, the peer group, and talk about their ideas, and I'm doing this. What do you guys think? It's just so valuable to have both parts. So
absolutely.
In terms of the psychology of binge eating, what would you say are the top, 1, 2, or 3 things that people just need to know?
Well, I think that, and this is, like you said in the previous podcast about this, Joe, is something that we've talked about a lot, but that connection piece is a basic need of ours, okay? And for the individuals that I see who are struggling with binge or emotional eating, there are a lot of needs in their lives that aren't necessarily being met. Connection needs, choice needs, sense of competence needs, and these will manifest in uncomfortable emotions that they want to get away from. Now, that's the human condition. Like, this isn't just about binge eating. All of us experience emotions, right, that we kind of don't want to. They're pretty unpleasant. Now, the individuals that I work with who are struggling with this sort of disordered eating, most of the time, they are in this space where they can't be with the emotion. They don't know how, they don't have those skills, and they need to learn those skills. Typically, they're operating in a very, and I do this too, even though I don't struggle with binge eating, we like the binary. We like the good and the bad and the black and the white. And the mind tends to operate wants to operate that way because it likes closure, right? Operating in the gray, the middle way, like, no, there's too much uncertainty there. So we avoid it.
So I think I picked out 3 things there. Let me see if I'm tracking along with you right. So first of all, there are these psychological needs,
Yes.
the 3 basic psychological needs. So if I'm struggling with binge eating, there's a good chance that maybe there are some other things in my life, in my relationships or my sense of worth and competence that just, if I'm falling flat in one of those major areas, I'm probably gonna not do too well on my diet.
Absolutely. I created a course called We Eat How We Live, specifically because of that right there. It often manifests in food, just like difficulties in our lives can manifest in other sorts of addictions, because we don't have a level of awareness and we're not reflecting. We don't know how a lot of times to reflect to get at what is it that's eating at me. Bad pun, but what is it that's getting underneath? What's poking me that I'm not aware of? So it does take a level of awareness and an understanding of these needs, because a lot of us have never been introduced to them. Like, we hear ourselves say, I need this, or this is important to me, but it doesn't really go much further than that.
And a client just messaged me something this morning we've been working on, and it was this kind of a great revelation. And he was super excited about this one thing that he kind of discovered. And it was in a large part due to your words. He said, I know Kori talks a lot about, self-love and acceptance, and I need to be a good partner to myself. And he was so excited that I think this is finally sinking in. And I said, that is so indicative and so perfect that you kind of look at one layer at a time developmentally, and this new realization that you've heard a million times, a million different ways, but now you're getting it.
Yeah.
Now that new realization will help you uncover something deeper, something deeper, something deeper. And then people can eventually get down to that level of self-awareness with their own psychological needs. And all of this stems from the, quote, symptom of just binge eating, right? And just feeling out of control.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that feeling out of control, that if we drill down into that feeling a little bit, it can feel like a buzziness, right, inside of us. It can feel like, so most people would say there's an anxiety there. It feels stressed. And that's part of what needs to be built, is the skill in being able to see the nuance in the feeling. It's not a bad feeling or a good feeling, because I have a lot of clients who, whether they're feeling good or bad, there's binge triggers all around, and they binge when they're happy and they binge when they're sad. So understanding the nuance of feeling and emotion is really, really important. Like, I may say, I'm feeling sad, Joe, and I understand, because I've worked on this myself, that sad isn't just sad. Sad can be, it's nuanced, it's granular. Sad can be like a deep, deep, foreboding, blue sad, or it can be kind of like a wispy, airy, feathery sort of sad. You know what I mean? So again, it's not binary, sad, happy. It's sad with all of these different colors and granularities of sad. What we know is that individuals who can identify and be aware of those gradients of emotion fare much better in terms of being able to manage emotion and self-regulate better, and not turn to things like food to get away from something that would typically be labeled as uncomfortable.
And that's the second thing you said when you first answered this question, which is there are tools that you need. And so I know if we started listing all these tools, we would have like episode number 412 by the time we're finished.
Yeah.
So just as a reminder, because I think the information you've gone over today is a perfect foundation for the psychology, at least where this emanates from in terms of binge eating behavior. But these tools that you speak of, I'm sure they're a big part of what you'll discuss in your upcoming group. So you've got 3 months and you're going to have all of this time together as a group and individually in sessions with you to really uncover every single tool that you need to finally, kind of beat this beast.
We're going to uncover so many tools, Joe, and we're going to be practicing together using those tools, which I think is the most important piece. There's the knowledge. We need the knowledge, but knowledge doesn't do us much good unless we know how to apply it in our lives.
Good. So. This is going to be huge. Guys, we will have it in the show notes, the link directly, as Kori mentioned earlier. But thanks so much for that, Kori. This is going to be, I think, the absolute best group you've ever had. The stories I know that come out of this are going to be amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, listening. This is going to be a big one to share. A lot of people need this information. So if you have friends struggling with things like this, make sure you give them the links. And as always, thanks for watching and listening. And we'll see you next time in the Life Mastery Podcast.
Thanks, guys.